So you've got an amazing idea for your app. You know where you want it to live. Now, one of the most important questions you need to ask yourself is, who's actually going to want to use it? There is a standard marketing question that can help you define and target your main audience. Who are your first 1,000 users? You should figure out who they are, I mean, not personally, but what their demographic is, and draft a plan to get to them. Take Tinder, for example. Millions of paying users and billions of matches. And it's designed to solve one simple problem: rejection. By letting you know only when someone you want to meet wants to meet you back. Tinder wasn't just about creating a directory of people you wouldn't normally have a chance to come into contact with. That's what a regular dating site does, and it's what they do, but their insight was trying to break down the barriers that get in the way of starting a conversation. They tried to make it easier to say hello. But to find out if the app was actually solving that specific problem, its makers decided that their first 1,000 users were the kind of people who'd come to a place like this, folks who already have access to meeting lots of new people, specifically university students. If Tinder could solve that problem for university students, they could solve that problem for everyone. When the app launched in 2012, the team all took out their phones and texted their university contacts about it. That night, they had 500 downloads. The next day, just through word of mouth, they hit their first 1,000 users. Then they hired influencers within colleges. They literally just gave students money to spread the word about the app. They organised campus events and parties where Tinder people would mingle and talk about the app, or where you had to have downloaded Tinder onto your phone just to get in. And if you're thinking that's a bit creepy and weird, you are absolutely right. It also worked. And the app spread like, well, you know what, I'm not going to finish that simile. By the time that they approached tens of thousands of users, it was winter break. University students went home and talked about Tinder to their siblings and friends. When break was over, there were 500,000 users swiping. The moral of the story is, figure out who your main audience is and target them precisely. That's easier said than done, though. Is it just about having a good name and a good brand, or is it's much more than that?
Absolutely. I think that the challenge with apps and app marketing per se is the fact that there are 50,000 new apps getting launched every month. You are losing, once somebody's downloaded an app, you're losing about 80% of those people that downloaded that app within 3 months. That's an average marketplace statistic. It's a huge challenge. There's a lot of businesses focused on the space. There's a lot of investment in the space. So consequently, there's a huge amount of competition. We have a real focus on what you need to do pre-launch, during launch, and post-launch. And perhaps one of the simplest ways to actually think about this is what we call the rule of three. 3 is the magic number. So what do you need to do when you are looking to launch? So assuming you have your product in development at the moment, your app is out there, you're just getting coded. We would recommend at least 3 months prior to launch, you need to start thinking about some of the basics that you need to put into that app from a marketing perspective, because your focus probably has been on building the product. You equally now need to start thinking about the marketing, because if nobody's coming to the app, there's no point in actually having that app in the marketplace. So 3 months prior to that, you need to define your strategy. What are you trying to achieve? How are you going to go about doing that? So you need to put your analytics in place. So you need to start understanding who's downloading your app, where they've come from, whether it's from your YouTube channel, whether it's from its search, or whether, heaven forbid, you're actually paying advertising to drive people to your App Store listing. You need to start understanding that, because then you can start determining which are the most effective channels to bring people to your app. And with analytics in your app, it also allows you to understand what they're doing with the app and ultimately what the value of those individuals is. So that's a really important piece. And you'd be surprised how many businesses that we talk to who have launched their app just have no visibility on who the users are. Start getting that in place, putting your search strategy in place, start building out to your App Store optimization strategy, and that's something you really need to be thinking about, that shop window that we've talked about. You need to be thinking about your onboarding as well. So when people come to the app for the first time, what do they see when they download the app? When do you ask them to give them your registration details? And then within all of that is how you utilize what channels you already have, your owned channels, or your paid for channels. So you have own channels, we all have own channels, our own Twitter feeds, our own Instagram channels, and so on and so forth. You need to start seeding it on that. And ideally, if you can build up a base of people that are genuinely interested, for that point of launch, you have a base of, let's say it's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 users who are immediately in the app on day of launch. They're the ones you start asking to leave reviews, so you've got your 4 and 5 star reviews. We've been doing this for a very long time. The most important thing we've determined over the last 10 years or so that is, if you can retain your users, you have a business. An awful lot of app businesses that launch have really not spent the time and effort in terms of understanding how they retain those users.
Time to test my presumptions as to who my users are going to be. And admittedly, I've got an advantage here because I have a following, but let's see if I can recruit my first 1,000 and get them to pre-sign up to the app. It's just a mailing list. I could do this in various ways, but I think my first port of call for getting people to that list is going to be Twitter. I've got 90,000 people following me there, or 90,000 accounts anyway, so let's see what I can get. Hopefully I can reach 1,000, but honestly, even a 1% success rate on capturing someone's email address is going to be tough. But let's see. If you're interested in testing it, put your email address in here and link and tweet. Well, it's getting favourites, so that's a thing. Got one reply, it just says woohoo. So that's 50 replies in 2 minutes, but I am aware that I have a following, and I am aware that some people I could literally just say, put your email address in here and I'll block you, and people would fill that in. So I should do that. I should totally do that. Put your Twitter username in here and I'll block you. I'm kind of moving the goalposts here a little, and I know I am, but out of Twitter, within 5 minutes, we've got 120. And I have an order of magnitude more people following me on YouTube than on Twitter. So, not actually worried about those first users. We've got a nice beta test group here, but if I actually launch this on YouTube, I think we're going to get 1,000 within a few minutes. 10 minutes in, we're about pushing 300, so yeah, if this is just posting on Twitter, I think this magical 1,000 users thing is probably going to be okay. A couple of people warning me against it, to be fair, but no one said it's objectively a bad idea yet. Mind you, this is basically an echo chamber, so take that with a pinch of salt. That is not a real email address. I'm not reading it out, but that is not a real email address. We can take one off the total here. 500. That's if I can post on Twitter and we've got 500 something. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have trouble finding my first users. And that's 1,000. And I know it's a myth. The whole first 1,000 users thing. It's an arbitrary number, but apparently I've found my first 1,000 users, and as a way to seed an app, as a way to get reviews for it, a way to push it up the download charts on day one. That'll do. So what have we learned? Well, first, one of the most crucial steps in this whole process of getting people to use your app is actually having a really good idea of who to target, who your users will be. Keep focused on the problem that you're solving and where the people who have that problem are. Then have a laser focus on reaching them. Second, plan using the power of 3. Think of what needs to happen 3 months before launch, 3 weeks before launch, 3 days before launch, 3 hours before launch, and equally what needs to happen 3 hours after launch, 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months. Number 3, use analytics to identify problems. If people aren't using your app, or if they aren't following through once they download, are there barriers in the way of them doing so? Consider using analytics tools inside your app so you can see where users are having problems and how you can fix them. And finally, go for quality over quantity. A good marketing strategy and a ton of luck both mean nothing if you don't have a brilliant app to begin with. 100 die-hard users will be more valuable to you than 1,000 mildly interested people who'll delete your app next week. Find ways to incite your users to spread the word about your app and help make it go viral. Next time, building the minimum viable product.